What is up, YouTube? This is Crow from Team TripleSleeveTCG coming at you with a deck interview. Today I'll be introducing...
Yo, what up, guys? My name's Sam. How you doing?
What's up, Sam? Can you tell us what you will be showcasing us today?
Yeah, the deck I'm going to be showcasing is my Genesis deck, the one I think that is most competitive at the moment. So.
Okay. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the video.
Start out the profile, we got for your main girl, for Himiko. So start things off, the reason I play Himiko over the Astral Plane variation of the deck is because right now the Astral Planes they're okay, but they rely on you to hit drive checks, while Himiko is inherently just a drive check in her own skill. So for those of you that don't know, she's a Soul Blast 5, and then put either a crit or draw from Soul to bottom of your deck, and you get that trigger activation times the number of your opponent's grade. So if they're at a grade 2, you get 2, and if they're at a grade 3, obviously you get 3. So has the potential to one-shot your opponent. If you push them to 2 and then go into your grade 3 ride and use your skill with Force 2, you just slap for 4 damage, and then you're probably going to drive check crits as well. We got 3, I call this Milky Way. She doesn't have a force marker, and she's an older card, but what she does is she lets you on place, check top 3, add 1 to Soul, and 2 go back on top. And so it's literally like, oh, you need a crit to activate your girl Himiko's effect. Alright, put the crit into Soul. Or if you're just trying to really just be that guy and be like, oh look, I have 2 crits on top of my deck, and just kind of bluff your opponent. It drives Crow nuts all the time. So
hey man, start calling me out.
Then we play 2 1-ups in the grade 3 slots. Play 1 Crow. I don't know. I'm assuming it's Crow. I don't know how to pronounce it. And I just call this Iwa. You only play 1-ups because the deck actually cycles through a lot of cards and lets you see a lot of pieces that you need. Each one of these has its own specific purpose. This card, when you place it, you soul charge 1 for every card you control, including itself. So if you have a full field and you play this, you soul charge 6 cards, which is a Himiko activation in herself. So it's just really nice for when you bleed dry your soul and you're like, wow, I really wish I could use my Himiko skill. You just go, bam, there's a Himiko skill. Iwa, this is probably like my favorite card. Before the new stuff came out, I played 4 of her. She's an act skill, which I always forget it's act. I always think it's on place because the entire deck is on place. What she lets you do, you can Soul Blast 3, you draw a card, and put a card from her hand into Soul, and she gains power 2 times the value of its shield. So what that means is if you put a crit trigger in there, she gains 30k extra power, making her 43. Or if you put a heal trigger in there because you're just trying to be really mean and swing for 53, then she gains 40k. And a lot of times people only swing at your Vanguard, so if you even play this down, they don't care. They're never going to touch it. And so you're just like, alright, free one-shot potential. So yeah, that's it. 9 grade 3s total. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think, in standard. I think a lot of people play 9. Into the grade 2s, we have 4 Dancing Light. This is a new card out of the trial deck. While on place, Vanguard or Rearguard, you check top 2. 1 goes into Soul, 1 goes on top of deck. So it's very, very, very similar to Milky Way in the sense that it does the same effect, just on a grade 2. And so it's probably your best ride target because you could ride it. And then your other grade 2s have a lot more utility on Rearguard circles. And then the other skill it has is on Rearguard Circle. When it attacks a Vanguard, if your opponent's Vanguard is on a grade 3 or greater, this unit and your Vanguard gain 5k, and that's huge for this deck. Even talking about the Astral Plane variation, because a lot of times you have 8k boosters, and this makes a perfect 23k column, which forces out the 15k guards or 20k guards. Sorry, new math. So this is just super potent. Also, again, hitting crits. As long as you put your opponent to 2 damage, you can control the entire game. Just kind of the key to this deck. Even against Shadow Paladins, you just keep them at 2 and be like, all right, you can't restand your Blaster Blades.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah,
so is damage denying like one of the key strategies in this deck?
It depends on the matchup. Aqua Force, yes, because you basically force them to not go into their glory. The new Nova Grappler stuff, don't give them a counterblast. They can't use God Hand's skill. I mean, they still gain the power, but not having the crit and the drive check actually matter. But against other decks, you don't care if they have counterblast. Like, dude, I got a 15 card hand. I'm just blowing through you, so it doesn't really matter. You can be like, oh, I know I'm going to drive check a crit, but I don't want to give my opponent the damage. Let me play an extra card so I don't drive check the crit, so on and so forth.
Fair enough.
Next card, this is an older card. It's 4. I call her Shiho because I can't pronounce these whole names. This card is actually nutty. So it's an on-place counterblast 1, Soul Blast 2. Draw 2 and put a card from your hand into soul, and she gains power equal to its shield. So it's kind of like the grade 3, but it only gets it once. So if you put a crit in, she becomes a 24 by herself, which is already optimal numbers. If you have these two in your opening hand, you can guarantee yourself you're giving them 2 damage just because, or force out early guard, so then you can just kill them on your first grade 3 right. Not much else to say. It just sucks that she's only rear guard, not a Vanguard and rear guard, but that's why we play the Dancing Light. Another older card, but very, very needed. On rear guard, when it swings at the end of the battle, you put it into soul, you draw 1, soul charge 1. So it replaces itself, it guarantees another card in soul, so you can activate your Himiko skills or other soul blast required skills. Pretty much self-explanatory in that.
It's a break even, early pressure, draw card.
Right, it's early pressure.
So it returns itself.
For no minus, so it would be dumb not to play it. For grade 1s, playing 4 of the new Full Heavens. This card makes this deck so much better. So, Vanguard, rear guard, when she's placed, you draw the card, put a card from your hand to the bottom. So if you're like, man, I got too many triggers, put that crit back to the bottom. Or heals. Most of the time I put heals back just because they don't do anything with Himiko. Also, when she gets placed on Vanguard Circle, you soul charge 2, which is real nice with it because a lot of the times I'll have a great hand and have no grade 3, and so she'll let me draw because the starter lets you draw 1 as well, and then you soul charge to 2, and half the time you can soul charge a crit, which people will be like, wow, that's kind of bad, but then you just load up your Himiko, so even if you soul charge a bunch of dry cards, Himiko's live, and it's just bonkers. Also, it has another skill on rear guard. At the end of the battle that it boosts, you can Soul Blast 2 and bounce it back to your hand. It's just a consistency card. You have to see your pieces in this deck, unfortunately, but it's not that big of a deal because you can just go in with this and just draw an insane amount of cards. And also, Himiko's skill to get a draw trigger to draw a possible 3 cards every turn is really cool. It does suck that she's a 7K because you can't make optimal numbers of 23, but a lot of people are playing Excel decks, so you don't have to hit 22 anyways. So it's not that big of a deal. The next card is you're playing 3 of this one. I don't even want to try to pronounce her name. This card is probably like, I don't know why they didn't make this card to begin with. What she does is on place for rear guard, you rest her, you give your Vanguard 10k power, and then next time you Soul Blast anything, to use a skill, it's 2 less. Yeah, go ahead and move me if you can't see me. My bad. It's 2 less. So that means now with your kill card, you only have to Soul Blast 3 cards and then the trigger. And then she also gains another 10k. So, like the whole entire idea that I was talking about, pushing your opponent to 2 if they're on grade 2 if you go first. Then you put all effects here, 23, 33. This makes it 43 without a booster, swinging for game. And at that point, it's like, you either have a perfect guard or you die. The next deduction card is 3, I call her Meek. When you place her, next time you Soul Blast, it's 3 less. So, like her, this is 2, this is 3. She doesn't give power, but she's also the 8k, so it helps you make the magic 23k column numbers. But I only play 6. I might bump it up to 8 just for consistency purposes. But the next card, you kind of need it in some matchups. But yeah, that's the grade 1s.
So I do have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
So the grade 1 that you showed us prior, so her for instance, do you prefer her over the grade 2 variant? The one that you counterblast 1 and you can just keep reducing?
Yeah, so the problem with the grade 2 that you're talking about is it fills up a grade 2 slot, and I felt the grade 2 turn needs to be as aggressive as possible and or get you to your goal of using your Himiko skill. Like if you would rather have that or something like a Dancing Light where this can hit the numbers but the other card can't, it just brings up interesting situations where you would just be swinging for 18 instead of 23, and that 23 number is just very, very important.
I see.
So it's more of a spatial problem. You can easily cut one of each of the grade 2s and play 3 of them if you want to. It just depends on how you like to use your counterblast, and that's more user preference kind of a. So
Gotcha.
That's just how I stand about that. The last grade 1 that we play is probably my favorite grade 1 in the entire game. It's Melissa. I've milled Crow out many times with this card.
Again, calling me.
So when you place her, you can Soul Blast 3. Your opponent looks at the top card of their deck, equal to the number of cards that they have on field, and then they have to call over the cards that exist.
This card is pretty good against, what's that, Murakumo?
Oh, yeah.
Break their boards.
Murakumo, depending on their play, a lot of the times they play the grade 3 that lets them draw a bunch of cards. So it doesn't really affect that, but if they were going to pretty much have the god field of these are all my cards, fear me, you say, nah, get rid of them. And they don't spin back to deck either. They go to drop, and then they have to call stuff out from deck. So it's really nice when you use the skill and they call like 3 triggers and you go, yeah, you ain't using those triggers anytime soon. Triggers, you play 4 heal because you have to. No need to explain that. 4 perfect guards. And then 4 crit, and 4 more crit.
I have one more question for you. As far as your trigger lineup goes, have you ever considered running 12 crits or 10 crits and running grade 1 PGs by chance?
I was about to say, if you want to, you can play 10 crit, keep 2 PG crits, and get rid of the 2 Melissas and play 2 perfect guards. Just make sure it's the on ride when you discard a card, draw a card, so you still get some utility out of it. But this deck has another crit, so you have the opportunity to do it. And again, against certain matchups, you don't care what the hell happens because of the Himiko. Himiko can just beat everybody. Or it's like PG or die, and if they PG, then you just distribute triggers to other rearguards. So early game crits are fine, but sometimes you're in need of draws. It also depends on how the meta goes, because right now we're in Excel meta, which means you kind of need the crit to die, but then at the same time you have rogue like Shadow Paladins where you're like, wow, I wish I had the perfect guard. Also, the perfect guard makes sense against like Pale Moons while they're still running around swinging for like 46k. PGs help out a lot. And the starter, I play the old starter because it's a girl. I mean, no. I don't know. I kind of got in the foil one, but they all do the same thing because for some reason they made all the triggers, or all the starters generic, which I mean, that's fine. This deck only uses Force 2. I never go into Force 1 just because it's not needed, because Himiko's effect is a Force 1 stack, if you think about it that way. And it's not wise. I did go Force 1 against you. But it's just like, again, the whole fact that you can just swing for 4. But again, if you just have a nutty grade 2 turn where you push them to 3, or if they go first and they're at a grade 3 and you ride into this. So this would be, if you activate Himiko's skill and put it all on her, without this, it's swinging for 4 damage. So if you put him at 2, then sure, you could go into the Force 1 and still do the same thing. But a lot of the times is you want your rear guards to also be swinging for extra crits. And then that also supplements the fact that when you use a draw trigger to draw 3 cards, then it still has the crit that's lacking from her. So it's one of the only Force decks that can use Force 2, in my opinion, that'll actually still win. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck. If you guys watching have any questions outside of Crow's more questions, you could probably comment below, and I'll probably be looking at the video, and I'll probably comment. So yeah, that's about it.
All right. Thank you, Sam, for showcasing us your Genesis deck profile.
Not a problem.
Really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on TCG Player. And also check out our website, triplesleevedtcg.com. All right, this is Crow, signing out. Peace.